Hi, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Our devotion for today, February 22nd, 2021, is from the Gospel of John, the second chapter, verses 1 through 12. Chapter 2, beginning with verse 1. On the third day, there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the wedding with his disciples. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what does that have to do with me? My hour is not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Well, Jesus, his mother, and the disciples were invited to a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and while they were attending the wedding, the host runs out of wine. Well, this is a horrible thing to happen to a host. The shame of this is a great weight for him to have to wear if something doesn't change. Jesus' mother asks her son to help the host. Perhaps this is a wedding of a relative, and she feels some strong desire to help them. Who knows? We're not told. However, we are told that Jesus says to his mom that his hour is not yet come, so why is this his problem? Mom, Mary, however, knows that having asked Jesus to help, he will, as any good and dutiful son would. Verse 6 and following. Now there were 6 stone water jars there for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water," and they filled them up to the brim. And then he said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast." So they took it. And when the master of the feast tasted the water, now become wine, he did not know where it came from, although the servants who had drawn the water knew. The master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and when people have drunk freely, then the poor wine. But you have kept the good wine until now." So Jesus' first recorded miracle is turning this purification water into wine for the host to serve his guests. Well, he does more than that. He turns it into good wine, the kind everyone would serve first and then wait until everybody was drunk and not notice that the bad wine was coming out, the cheaper wine. And he does all of this without calling attention to himself. Only a few people, the servants and he, know what he's done. And I'll say more about this in a minute. Verse 11 and 12. This, the first of his signs, Jesus did at Cana in Galilee, and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this, he went down to Capernaum with his mother and his brothers and his disciples, and they stayed there for a few days. Okay, so this miracle causes Jesus' disciples to believe in him, we're told. And after the wedding, he and Mom and his brothers and his disciples went down to Capernaum to stay for a few days. Now, please note, this reference to Jesus' brothers is a reference to his biological brothers, not his disciples, as his disciples are listed separately. Now, as I reflected on verses 6 through 10, I thought about the water. The jars are set aside for purification, and the water that normally goes in them then is set aside for purification. So we have this purification water at the feast now that Jesus has asked the servants to fill. Jesus turns this water in these purification jars into good wine. Wine that is remarked upon for its goodness, which in turn opened my mind to the connection between Jesus and the wine that he turned into his blood at the Last Supper with his disciples prior to his crucifixion. The wine used at the Last Supper is for our purification. We become the vessels in which this wine resides, this blood of Christ, which then purifies us. It does so with the express purpose of forgiving our sins. So just as the purification water changed into good wine, and the wine of the Last Supper was changed into the blood of Christ for our purification. Reflect on that for a while. Go in peace. Serve the Lord.